Thanks for being with me today. We know that these last 3 months have been challenging for all of us, but certainly for small businesses in our province. And let's face it, for the people who work in those small businesses, this has been an exceptionally challenging time. We think of you, and we are acting to respond to those challenges and hardships you faced. You faced some financial hardships, no doubt, whether you've been laid off or if you're in business, you've had to lay off people, and that's not easy to do, I know. And some of you have lost incomes. Some of you have been forced to close your businesses for a time, and some have made the decision to close your businesses permanently, and that saddens everyone in our province. But we, as a government, have focused on making our #1 priority helping this province be resilient and bounce back. In this unprecedented global pandemic, we have focused on stabilizing our health situation, because that is what underlies our recovery. That is what we depend upon here. And we have really focused on keeping you and your loved ones safe and ensuring that a healthy Manitoba today and well into the future is what we all get to share together. Notre priorité numéro 1 au cours de cette pandémie mondiale sans précédent a été de vous protéger, vous et vos proches, et d'assurer la santé de Manitoba aujourd'hui et pour l'avenir. And that's why our government has developed some of the most generous support programs in the country for seniors, for the disabled, for small businesses, and for young people. And we've done this to encourage that bounce back and to protect our most vulnerable citizens. With the establishment of these programs, we've been promoting, applications are coming in every day from Manitobans who need some help to get through this. We've had more than 53,000 Manitobans now apply for the risk recognition program. The criteria were expanded this week, so 20,000 more applications this week alone. More than 6,100 small businesses are receiving our GAP program funding, which represents more than $36 million of support for small businesses, and that program continues to be subscribed to on a significant basis, and we expect that as the economy begins to click back into gear with the Phase 3 announcements this week, that even more of our small businesses will look for that support to assist them in getting going. We've had more than 1,400 employers apply for a wage subsidy through our summer student recovery plan, and that has created over 3,200 student positions. And combined with the positions that we have created with our green program, with our STEP programs, our summer temporary employment programs for young people, we're well over an all-time record for Manitoba job creation for young people. And we are frankly focused on doing even more for our young people as they are in a pivotal time in their lives and need the assistance. We are over 6,000 students now that we are employing here in Manitoba thanks to these programs. Tuesday, we launched the online intake for our charity Summer Student Incentive Grant, so that nonprofit organizations and charities that hire just one full-time student, they can certainly be encouraged to hire more, will receive an additional $6,000 plus the 50% subsidy support for that student that they hire. We've already received, just in the last few hours, more than 300 applications for that program, and we'll be promoting and encouraging more applications to come in to assist our charities and nonprofits. I encourage you to visit the Supports for Business section of the Manitoba government website so you can learn more about the programs we've made available and find out if you can qualify for those programs. All these programs are focused on dealing with the root causes that we have to address during this pandemic, and to provide our small businesses and our economy with the ability to get back to work. So as part of that today, I want to announce a new business hiring program, the Manitoba Back to Work This Summer initiative. And as the title implies, we want to get more Manitobans back to work this summer and ease the road to recovery for our businesses as well. I mean, most of our businesses are smaller businesses, but they depend on employees to work. And they depend on those employees working in order to work effectively to serve their customers. We owe a huge thank you to our many local businesses for the jobs they create, for the services they provide, and frankly for the supports they offer in community donations and in sponsoring organizations and sports teams and the like. For me, just as one Manitoba young person, I was supported in my sports career many times by small businesses that assisted in the sponsorship of the programs that I got to be part of as a young kid. Our small business community is the backbone of our economy, and we know that these past few months have been challenging for them. And we know that the closures and the changes have come at a cost to businesses, and of course, most importantly, at a cost to the people who work in those businesses as well. Our new Back to Work this summer program is going to give Manitobans a chance to get back to work by giving Manitoba-based businesses funding for up to 5 employees, as we previously announced. They can hire new employees or bring back people. But previously we restricted that limit to people under 30 to emphasize the need to get our young people and our students a chance to earn some income over the summer so they could continue with their education and their post-secondary opportunities. Today I'm announcing that this program will be expanded regardless of age. And so anyone who is looking to work will have the opportunity now to be hired back, and the business that hires them will get a 50% wage subsidy under the same terms as the previous program, to a maximum of 5 employees. We'll reimburse half the wages paid for up to 5 employees over a period of up to 10 weeks this summer, right until the end of August. Le nouveau programme manitobain de retour au travail cet été accordera aux entreprises du Manitoba un financement pour un maximum de 5 employés. Nous rembourserons la moitié de salaire versé à un maximum de 5 employés sur une période pouvant aller jusqu'à 10 semaines cet été. The program will cover 50% of total wages paid from now till August 30th to a maximum of $5,000 per worker, $25,000 per business. We're providing this subsidy support to small businesses so that they can help us create jobs and reopen the economy, but most importantly so they can help their employees return to work, or they can help others who are looking for a job find that work. Our focus has always been on protecting the most vulnerable people, and our vulnerable people right now, and you've seen the employment stats, are those who are out of work and looking for more hours and new jobs. We've been focused on keeping the curve flat, and I thank Manitobans again for their tremendous work. We're proud of the work that you've done, that all of us have done together as Manitobans to bring us to the third phase of restoring our services that we announced just yesterday, but there is no room for complacency. And I'll say again, we don't want a COVID comeback here. What we want is a Manitoba comeback. Il n'y a pas de place pour la complaisance. Nous ne voulons pas d'un retour COVID. Nous voulons un retour au Manitoba. We need to keep the COVID curve flat by sticking to the fundamentals. And we'll also move our economy forward by sticking to those same fundamentals. We're proud of the programs that we've designed and that we've implemented with the advice and ongoing support and counsel of Manitobans, and we encourage all Manitobans who may be able to look at the opportunity of getting back to work. And for small businesses, this is a program that will assist them in doing exactly that. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. Reminder to reporters on the line, you will have one question and then one follow-up. We will start today with City TV, Jonas.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. Jonas Gilbart, City News. This new initiative for the province, any concern, I guess, for businesses getting folks back to work to serve? Is this the result of that, or is this strictly a result of trying to get more folks back to work here in the province?
Well, it's a combination of the two, Jonas. I think, to be fair, the federal government, and we've thanked them for the programs they've introduced. They've had an effect of supporting people who were pushed out of work, and they'll need to continue to some degree to do that. But here in Manitoba, as opposed to many parts of Canada, our economy is churning back to life. And as it churns back to life, small businesses need to have people working in their employ, and they are looking for people to hire. This will incentivize that, I think, and it will encourage small businesses to be able to do something they might be struggling to do without the support and the subsidy of 50% on those salaries. So our hope is that we can help people get back to work and encourage small businesses to assist in that process. Obviously, they're a very important part of that.
And just as a follow-up, is there a ballpark number of workers you expect to take up this program as we kick it off?
Yeah, we're just actually had another discussion on that this morning, and I think there's an important promotional responsibility we have here to make sure that the word gets out. I know that by announcing it today and through the media, the word will get out. But we're also meeting regularly. In fact, there's a call this morning with about 50 different business and trade organizations to get the word out there as well, and to promote the program so people are aware of it, I think is really important. For many Canadians, they've been on the CERB program, and that's given them basic income, which has been important as the economy shut down. But in Manitoba, the economy is making a comeback. COVID isn't. And as we make that comeback, we want to help people earn their way in life and find a good job with good pay. And this is the incentive program that will help them do just that.
From the Winnipeg Free Press, Carol.
Good morning, Premier. It's Carol at the Free Press. Did you know at the time that Michael Pallister, the Director of Stakeholder Relations, was being paid for work on Marty Morance's federal campaign last year?
When I found out about that last week, I instructed within an hour that the wage that was claimed during the time that Mr. Collison was working part-time elsewhere was refunded to the taxpayer, and that an apology was issued. Mr. Collison complied with that, and that is how we handle those types of issues, Carol.
And for a follow-up, on May 27, it was disclosed that Clerk David McLaughlin was awarded $25,000 for consulting services and expertise. Is there evidence of that work, and can we see it?
Well, Carol, you're talking about one of the most renowned environmental experts respected across the country and globally here, who was the key architect to the drafting of Manitoba's Green Plan, which has been acknowledged by the former federal environment minister as the best plan designed in the country, and we needed Mr. McLaughlin to help us with the implementation of that plan. And so he earned his money, as he has always done. And now going forward, he has actually assumed the responsibilities, in addition to Clerk of the Executive Council, of helping us to implement that Green Plan so that we can continue to be one of the Canadian leaders in making sure we leave the planet better than we found it.
From Global, Brittany.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. We've heard from a lot of businesses that have reopened that they're going to be needing to spend more money on not just PPE, but now on those temporary barriers so they can move towards 100% capacity. Why not help businesses with some of those costs as opposed to the hiring costs? A lot of businesses are saying if they can't stay open, they can't hire people.
Well, it's a kind of a catch-22, Brittany. We are helping those businesses by freeing up 50% of their wage costs up to 5 employees. And so that actually does free up capital for other purposes, quite frankly. Ad hoc programs around shields and so on would be less effective, harder to deliver, much more expensive to deliver, and they would be, frankly, not directly linked to the ability that all of our small businesses need to have to get people back to work. So we've designed our programs precisely for the purpose of helping people get back to work, because that is the major foundational factor that allows small businesses to operate.
Thank you. And I know we've talked about this for a number of issues and a number of times already, but a lot of businesses still calling for some help when it comes to rent relief to be able to continue going after those closures. Any more consideration to that?
Yeah, we've continued to hear from our business groups collectively and individually about the challenges on the rent issue. Again, we're working very diligently to convey some of the design concerns that we've heard to Ottawa. I have done that with the Prime Minister directly and the Deputy Prime Minister. I'll continue to take those representations forward. But I would remind Manitobans that all of these endeavors will fall flat if we don't keep the COVID curve flat. And so our principal obligation as a government is the one we've done, I think, fairly well at, which is to make sure that we have flattened that COVID curve and that we keep it down. That's what will allow consumer confidence to come back. That's what will allow businesses to get their customers back. And that's where we'll continue to focus our resources, our time, and our efforts. That will underpin the recovery that we all want to see here in Manitoba, and then we'll have a Manitoba comeback, not a COVID comeback.
From the Brandon Sun, Colin.
Premier Colin Clark from the Brandon Sun here. I was wondering how the government settled on the 5-person limit for this program.
Yeah, that's a great question. 95% of our businesses are under 10 employees, according to the Chamber of Commerce data that we were given. We're trying to focus on a broad-based plan that will support a lot of our businesses in the province. For the larger employers, they do play a key part in our economy, and they will play a key part in our recovery, but they have available to them some significant supports through federal programs that small businesses do not. So we designed our programs to fill the gaps that the federal government programs missed, and also do more than that when it came to supporting seniors, the disabled, young people, with our student programs. Now we're adding this program as a way to broaden the opportunities for small businesses to hire people back. For many companies in Manitoba, the previous program, which will continue, of hiring young people, the 5-person program, isn't really perfect for them because they had to lay off, or people went on COVID, 5 staff, say, who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. So now they'll be able to hire those folks back and get 50% of their wages for the next few weeks, and that's, I think, a good incentive for the worker to come back, and it's a good incentive for the employer to be able to hire them back.
My follow-up question is, are there any contingencies in place in case the program is more popular than you anticipated and the money set aside for the program is burned through?
Yeah, we got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time here, Colin. I think we're demonstrating we can do that. So we're excited to see this program subscribed to. We've seen really good uptake with the program we just got on live here a couple of days ago for charities and nonprofits. We've seen a record amount of uptake on the summer student program. We're continuing to push that one and promote it. And as these programs are subscribed to, then that's a clear sign that Manitoba's on the road to recovery. We want to make that recovery on a graph not look like an L. We went down hard. We don't want an L. We want a V. So our design of our programs is designed to achieve that goal.
From CJOB, Clay.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. Does the government have any roundabout figures as to how many small businesses have either temporarily or permanently closed as a direct result of the pandemic?
That's a figure that hasn't been compiled yet, Clay. We've got anecdotal. You've reported. I know OB's reported on a couple of restaurant closures already. That saddens all of us. The number of closures that will ensue, the number will depend on the degree to which we can get that V that I talked about earlier going. The sooner we can get consumer confidence and get people back out there doing the shopping and living that they like to do, the better for all of us, because that will revitalize our small business economy and assist us in our recovery. So our programs are designed to help achieve that goal. And we are obviously working hard to make sure that the number that you asked about is a number as low as possible, but I can't give you a hard number at this point in time because we're focused on making sure we just do our best to keep the number low.
Okay, a quick follow-up question. We're running a story this morning. It's in relation to phase 3. More than 50 churches in the province are part of a petition asking the government to lift the restrictions on Sunday services. And in fact, a church in Beausejour wants to have the province allow religious organizations to set their own restrictions for gatherings. They're saying if restaurants can open at 100% capacity, why shouldn't they?
Well, I'm going to ask the church organizations to have a little faith. We've liberalized our rules and deregulated faster than almost every jurisdiction in the country. So exercise, I'm sure there's something biblical or in the Quran about patience, and I would expect we need to have a little patience now. The churches won't make health policy. Dr. Roussin and our health experts are making that health policy, and they have good reason for being careful about the restrictions that are necessary to keep us all safe. And I think it would be in the best interest of all of us to show respect for that and to make sure that we're all of us working together to protect our own health and the health of others. So phase 3 has allowed for significant latitude in the operations of faith-based organizations, and I would ask the church organizations to respect the health orders that Dr. Roussin has designed and make sure that they're part of making the COVID battle a successful one.
From the Winnipeg Sun, Josh.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. It's Josh Aldrich with the Winnipeg Sun. There's a bit of clarity in this press release that was sent out. Manitoba government has $120 million available for this initiative and the Manitoba Summer Student Job Recovery Program. So this program announced today is just part of the Summer Student Job Recovery Program that was previously announced. Is there an expansion of that, or is there $120 million additionally available for this new program?
We've budgeted additional funds to be available. We hope that they are subscribed to, Josh, because it will mean that we're getting people back to work, and that's the best indication we can possibly have that our economic recovery in Manitoba is actually happening.
I'm going to follow up. It's going back to Britain's question about rent assist for some of these businesses. You said you're going to be taking these concerns to the federal government, have some more discussions on that. What kind of a timeline are we looking at for the expansion or potentially more funding for some of these programs, especially with July coming around and the new round of rent coming up for a lot of these businesses that are struggling just to keep the doors open or struggling to get the doors back open at this point?
Well, I think you were clicking out on me there, Josh, but I think you're asking about the Rent Assist program, and that dialogue with the federal government continues. There are some efforts being made on behalf of Manitoba business to see some design changes happen with that program, but we'll have to wait for that dialogue to ensue to see where they're going. They've made several changes to the program already, and most certainly the program is one which addresses one part of a business's overhead. The major overhead for most small businesses in our province is wages and benefits for employees. And so we're focused today on an announcement which will assist to the tune of 50% on wage offset for workers. That is not insignificant. That is the single largest category of expenditure for most of our businesses in Manitoba. And so I would simply say again, we're focused here on making sure the COVID curve stays flat so that the consumer, the customer, the citizen of our province can feel confident when they go outside that they're not going to get sick. And if they can feel that way, that consumer confidence that will ensue will allow them to go and support and patronize the businesses of our province. Manitoba's government has been focused on doing that job really well, and I'm sure that most in the small business community would tell you that they respect and appreciate the work that's been done to stabilize our environment here better than in most parts of the country, frankly.
From CBC Radio Canada, Emily.
Good morning, Premier Emily here from Radio Canada. I just wanted to know exactly that this new program is part of the whole program, but can employers apply to this specific program for summer students as well, or do they need to apply for the other one?
No, the previous program remains, Emily, and it will continue. And we've actually expanded our outreach in respect of additional positions we're hoping to create for summer students within government itself. We've set a target of 2,200 additional positions within our government that we're currently developing a plan to achieve. So our summer students are not forgotten in this mix, but this additional program will allow people. I have a friend who is a single mom. She has 2 kids she has to support, but she's not under 30. Now she'll be able to go back to work and get an offer from an employer who might not have offered her a job before because the subsidy program was only for under 30. And that's the same for people who are in their 40s and 50s. They'd like to get back to work. What this program will do is give them a greater opportunity and a greater incentive for small businesses who would like to hire back people who are in those age brackets, not below 30, but also that they will have the incentive to then have 50% of that salary covered up to a maximum of $5,000 over the next couple of months.
Okay. My follow-up is regarding the Prime Minister's Justin Trudeau announced today that he wanted to go ahead with the COVID tracing app. I was wondering if the government here in Manitoba was maybe thinking about having an app as well.
Yes, no, we've been more than thinking about it. We've been in advanced dialogue with a number of other provinces and in fact with the federal government on this issue. It's been raised on the Premier's calls for the last month. Numerous provinces, including ours, have advanced some proposals and actually looked at some models. I think the Prime Minister will have more to say on this very likely later today. But there needs to be, as we've said from the outset, a system that allows tracking to be facilitated across jurisdictions. We have a national economy. It doesn't benefit by having barriers at the borders. We were pleased this week to be able to start to reduce some of those restrictions for provinces to the west of us and for Northwest Ontario as well. But we need to do everything we can to make sure that we're able to effectively, as we open up our economy, as we take the barriers down, that we are able to protect each other by being able to track COVID cases effectively. And that means we need software that works and talks to each jurisdiction effectively. So that, I'm sure the Prime Minister will have more to say on that later today.
From CBC Manitoba, Ian.
Good morning. Ian Frey, CBC. Premier, how will your government enforce the self-isolation rules for people east of Terrace Bay who may try to come here?
Well, it's the same challenge we've had from the start, Ian, and you nailed it. I mean, it's a difficult challenge because on the one hand, you want to be absolutely careful that you're keeping any danger out, and on the other hand, you don't want a big border guard at every entrance to the province. So it's a trade-off, isn't it? And that's the difficult challenge we face. We've had informational distribution. We've done the best, I think, effort in terms of education and coordinated that educational effort through the media, and thank you to you for that. And these are the efforts that we'll have to continue to undertake.
Okay. And given how little you managed to cut labor costs during the pandemic from sort of those initial goals, what would you have done differently to try and accomplish that?
You clicked out on me, Ian. I think your question was about labor costs, but would you restate it? Just I don't want to answer a question you didn't ask.
Yeah, for sure. I asked, I guess, given how little you managed to cut labor costs early in the pandemic when you had those initial goals, what would you have done differently to try to accomplish that?
Well, okay, let's start off by just being clear. When we ask departments, as we do every year, to come up with plans for spending reductions, and we did that this year, those aren't goals. That's an exercise in determining the difference between needs and wants. That's an exercise in ensuring that your departments are looking at the priority issues first. We began that practice 4 years ago when we came into government, and we'll continue with it. Just as every household must do this and every small business must do this, governments didn't do this in the past, but they need to now, and we are. As far as labor costs concerned in the civil service, we've been, I am told statistically, the second lowest impact on our public service thus far in terms of our management of labor costs. We've encouraged people early to work from home, and we facilitated that ability here better than many other jurisdictions did early on. And there are a number of other measures we took to make sure that we did our best to intercept the impacts of COVID here in Manitoba. Part of that was, of course, working with our civil service and our crowns and our universities and our schools and our hospitals to protect the people who work there and the people who need the services they offer, whether it was students in schools or children in daycares. And this proactive approach to prevention has resulted in Manitoba being truly one of the Canadian leaders on flattening the COVID curve. But we need to continue with that diligent work, and our public service is going to be a key part of that. going forward.
From the Canadian Press, Kelly.
Kelly Malone, Canadian Press. I see that charities and not-for-profit organizations are ineligible because you say that they're able to access the non-profit summer student incentive grant. But obviously you said in your comments that it was important that there weren't age restrictions. So why not include charities and not-for-profit organizations?
The charities and nonprofits, we just opened that website, Kelly, this week, are responding favorably to the hiring of younger people. We know there's a balance here, but we also know that from the input we received from the charities and nonprofits, they felt that they could assist us in creating summer temporary employment, which normally would be employment available for students. Not always, but sorry, excuse me. Not always, but that is the type of employment that summer students generally would want to have. So we've linked the charities and nonprofits to that opportunity, and they'll be able to access 50% of the salary costs they incur for a summer student, and up to 5 if they wish, plus they get a $6,000 incentive in addition to that. This program doesn't offer that $6,000 incentive, but it does offer any employer who wants to hire an employee back or a new employee of any age, it does offer them a 50% wage support.
And March seems like a lifetime ago, and apologies for not keeping up on everything, but is there an expectation that there'll be another budget update now that obviously things have changed so drastically since it was released not very long ago?
Yes, before the end of June, Kelly.
From CTV, Stephanie.
Hi, good morning. Stephanie from CTV here. A lot of small businesses in our province are solely owned and operated by families and their family businesses, but this doesn't help with them. I see that immediate family members aren't eligible.
Right. That is correct, and that is a difficult thing for me coming from a family business myself. But I think it is, our guidance is that it is the only way we can really exercise much control over the program. In other words, it creates an opportunity for abuse by some, sadly, and we respect the fact there are family-run businesses, as I said. I'm totally supportive of that. But the idea here is that we have to make sure that we're creating new jobs for people from our province of any age, and we're not just using the program to create a $25,000 gift to one particular family. It would be very difficult to prove or verify the degree of involvement that 5 family members might have in one business.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify just on the dollar figure again, so this funding is kind of split between this new initiative and the student job program?
It's all part of what we originally budgeted as a $120 million estimate, but I'm going to ask for latitude here in the sense that these budgeted amounts don't have precedence. And so as far as a plus minus, I would say I hope that there'll be heavy subscription and overuse, and we are prepared to allocate more funds to job creation than we have stated. But we really depend upon the response of the small business community and workers themselves in order to determine what the actual costs will be to the taxpayers of our province. I would say this in a defensive mode, I guess. I think most Manitobans understand that getting people back to work is the best thing we could possibly do as people, and supporting our small businesses in their efforts is a critical part of that. The government wants to do that, and I'm asking Manitobans to do that too. Our small businesses do an incredible job of supporting their communities and our communities in this province, and we know how important a job is to people. They're looking to support themselves and their families too. So we depend on our small businesses, and I think if there's any good to come out of this pandemic, it might be a better understanding that Manitobans now have of how vitally important to our province these small businesses are. So thank you to them, and thank you to you for the diligent work that you're doing to keep this COVID curve flat, and all the best as we move forward. We can beat this thing together.